with Tara. I forgot to hit go live on StreamYard. And I like so I mean, I just that was such a good session. I like kicked myself that I forgot to do that.
Right.
But anyway, we are live on Instagram. So if you okay, why is this giving me what? Wait a minute. Hold on. I don't know what happened just now. Hold on.
You okay?
Okay, so let's disconnect. I'm gonna try it on my I'm gonna try it on this US number and see what happens. If we cannot go live on Instagram, we're just gonna continue going live on our other platforms.
Okay.
So we're
Are
going
you wanting me to get on too?
huh?
Are you
No,
wanting
I just yes, so you can join, but I just hope that
well, I may need to go on stream. If you're doing that, then I may need to go on StreamYard on my laptop and then Instagram on my phone. I'm on my phone right now.
um well well we could just post clips on Instagram. Let's just continue here.
Okay.
That's fine. We could just continue here. So welcome back to your second coaching session, and this is transformation coaching with the authenticity awakening coach. I am Kimberly Braxton, and I'm so happy to have you here again, Kiara,
Thank you.
for
Thank
your
you.
second session. And thank you again for agreeing to have these recorded.
No problem. Thank you.
So, welcome back. And I just want to thank you for continuing your investment in your growth journey. So, on our scale today, we got the rubber ducky scale. How are you feeling based on this rubber ducky scale on a scale of 1 to 9, with 9 being the best? Well, never mind, because nine is sinking.
Yeah.
So, so 9 is not the best, but how are you feeling on the rubber ducky scale today?
It looks like I could say that it looks like two.
Number 2. Okay, that's good. Can you tell me why you're choosing that one?
Oh, it's just it's Friday, so doing my second session, so I'm definitely excited to get more into it. So it's pretty good
Okay.
going thus far.
Awesome. Okay, wonderful. So I feel like a number 1 because coaching always energizes me. So we
Yes.
were talking earlier and we were talking about how tired we were.
Right.
But yes, coaching is always that's my I don't know if it's kryptonite. Is that good for Superman? I forgot. Okay. I don't remember. All right. Well, let's continue. What do you want to affirm for yourself today?
um, I actually, which is so weird, last night in my dreams, I like kept saying like a random affirmation, and it was just like, I am thankful, I am loved, I am blessed, like, and I just kept repeating it. It made me fall asleep. Like, it was just literally random last night. So I'm like gonna wake up with that like affirmation today, just knowing that I'm thankful, knowing that I am indeed loved, and I'm truly blessed. So
Awesome. I love it. I love it. I'm here for it.
thank
What was your shining moment for the week?
my shining moment for the week. Well, I actually did my first event that I had mentioned last week, I think. So we did our first event this past Wednesday, my trivia business, and it was successful. Everyone enjoyed it, so definitely thank you to Bubba's 33 in Tampa, Florida. It was definitely a great time. So We'll be there next Wednesday and hopefully more Wednesdays to come. So definitely that was my highlight.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that, your shining moment for the week.
No problem.
So, what would you like to achieve by the end of this session?
I know we was definitely bringing up, different ways of me being able to say more no when it comes down to always trying to prove a point, whether it's good or bad, with people, trying to show my independency, I guess, in a sense, and realizing it's just taking more time for me. So just continuing to figure out different activities that will allow for me to be more just confident in my nose than always just saying yes, when it comes down to just doing things for others.
Okay. So, what I'm hearing is you want our coaching to be centered around being more confident in saying no.
Hmm.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, last time I gave you like three, I'm going to call them goals, but it kind of also was homework too,
Hmm.
right? So, the first one was pause before accepting another task, right? So, and that was something you said you needed to do. I need to pause before I accept another task. And your homework was to write 3 statements that you can use after you do that pause. Okay. And then number two was um, once you say no, you said you have a playlist, like a positive playlist to deal with the possible negative feelings that might come after saying no.
Hmm.
And then the third thing was come up with a list of 5 ways to say no. So let's deal with the first one. Did you have any situations come up for you where you had to do that pause and then practice one of your statements before accepting another task? Did anything happen this week?
Well, I will say this week no, so that was kind of a good thing, I guess. um, so this week, kind of it went smooth. I didn't really have too many people reaching out with things that I didn't want to. So that one, I'm
Okay.
still kind of waiting to practice that first one for sure. But no, but this week was kind of just a decent week.
Okay. All right. So then my follow-up question is, did you come up with your 3 statements?
When pausing, so I have one that says, "Just I'm not available." I also want that have one that says, "This time won't work," and I have another one that says, "I am not free at the moment."
Oh, those are really powerful statements too. Because guess what? Those statements don't, like, it's clear. Like it's clear there shouldn't be a follow-up unless the person doesn't have good boundary system, right?
Yes.
Because those statements are very concise and they're clear. They leave no room for negotiation.
Hmm.
So those are really great statements.
Thank you.
All right, what about, so you didn't have to do number 2, right? Because you didn't have to use your no, right? You didn't have to own your no this week. All right, so like, what about number 3? Come up with 5 ways to say no, because that was a challenge for you last time. You had an apology in one of your no's. You had an excuse in one of your no examples last week, and we talked about no is a complete sentence
Hmm.
and there's no need to apologize. So how are your, let's hear your 5 ways to say no. Were you able to work on those?
Yes, and so it was funny because it was like, um, it was kind of somewhat to me like a little bit of the like statements that I could say like with that pause.
Okay.
So I also kind of had some of those too. But then also just a few that I had was just thank you for thinking of me, but I won't be available. Simply no. I had no, I cannot, and I had no, I am not free. And then I also had no, thank you, and then I kept it with the rest where the I'm not available, I'm not free, and this time won't work.
Nice. Let's look at the first one. So let's see how we could just fix up the first one. So that word but, I try as often as possible not to use that word because that word negates everything that was said ahead of it. Do you understand? So it's like you're taking back your thank you. Does that
Mm,
make sense?
mm,
So can we fix that one up
mm.
without that word but?
I won't be free. Thank you for thinking of me.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. You want to take a minute to write that one down or fix it up real quick and then we'll continue. Okay, great. So, we didn't really have anything in the way this time in regards to you saying no. However, I want to sit a little bit right here because you took the time to write these statements down. So, what you essentially have done for yourself is you've prepared yourself for when that moment comes. And it's really powerful to have these statements in advance. And what I would like for you to do for your homework today, I don't think we need to make any changes. We made the changes to one of your statements. But what I would like for you to do is some mirror work and actually voicing those out loud.
Mm,
So that's going to be one of your to do uh, for this session is actually standing in front of the mirror and imagining somebody has asked you to make them a flyer because your flyers are so cute and they are so on point
mm,
or whatever the ask is. But I want you to stand in front of the mirror and I want you to practice saying those statements out loud. The 5 statements of saying no, and then even your practice your pause in saying your 3 statements that you're going to use to follow up. One of your statements you said last week that I didn't hear today was let me get back to you,
mm.
right?
And I
That
forgot
was
about that
one of
one.
your statements for your pause. So maybe you now have 4 statements to work with your pause. So I want you to do some mirror work with the 3 statements, well, 4 now. Your 4 statements for your pause. And then I want you to practice your saying your no with your 5 follow-up statements or whatever, or you're simply your no,
Oh,
right?
mm,
Because when you do that, when you find yourself in that situation, you're going to be so much more prepared to own your no.
mm,
Okay. And I want you to also think about that, like owning your no. I don't even know where I got that statement from. It
mm,
just came up in my spirit, like own your no.
mm,
Owning your no honors you for one, and it also allows you to free up your time to do something that you may need to do for yourself, for your business, for your relationship, whatever it is.
mm,
Okay. Owning your no is, it gives you your power
mm.
to do whatever else it is that you need to do. And,
Right.
and guess what? Even if that is sitting on the couch, scratching your feet or whatever you want to do, I don't
Right.
care what it is. If it's just resting, you're owning your no to honor the fact that you need some time to rest.
Right. I
Okay?
definitely agree.
All right. So those are the things that I would like for you to do
All right.
um for homework.
All right.
So I'm curious as to your coaching request because you wanted to. I'm curious to know why there is some question about confidence in saying no. Can you talk to me a little bit more about that?
Um, I think I definitely will say like kind of like discussing it before. So typically, when people do come to me with different things, just in general, like the whether it's even down to, it don't even have to even be work related. It can just simply just be the go-to to know like things to do for fun or going out all the time or kind of planning the outings and stuff like that. It's almost like the best way to put it is not, I don't feel bad when people come to me about different, come to me with ideas, come to me with tasks. Like, it does make me feel good because I'm like, okay, you are thinking of me with something that is going to in some shape or form help you. However, I what I end up feeling bad about is when I really honestly just don't want to, but because I know that
Mm,
it makes you feel good, and I know that it can maybe, again, when we kind of like joked about a flyer or event or task ideas with somebody business, like naturally speaking, I get excited. If you have an idea, it's like that I'm going to be 10 times excited about your idea. If you have a just, and I'm talking like a wide range of just ideas, even from the most craziest ideas, like I might add a little something, something on it too, but people know that my energy is going to kind of like, I guess, help or give, to whatever it is that they want to be done. And there are times, like you said, where I may just want to, for an example, rest. And I don't want to
mhm,
have that energy, at all. It could have just been times where I just got through crying, and I'm trying to switch it up because I'm like, okay, well, if I'm making them feel good, that's fine. But me, sometimes I'm only not feeling good because it was just something I simply didn't want to do. But it was okay, what, if this person feels great, that's fine. So just being more confident, and like, just as much as when I do feel great, how confident I am. If honestly, if I'm not okay today, or if I'm just really not in that mood today, that I can feel as confident to say it. I think a lot of times we're so taught to kind of like hide the quote unquote bad, but in other words, just if you're not happy, but I feel like it's ways to be able to express it. I tend to hide it through actions. Like, if I'm in my feelings, or if I'm maybe sad, or if I'm extremely, tired, just trying to show others that I can still do X, Y, and Z. I'll just keep moving, moving, moving. But then by the end of the day, I'm 100% exhausted, mentally, also physically. So, by the end of the night, I'm sleep, in a deep, deep sleep, off like just being exhausted. However, if I would have took that time to just be a little bit more confident, say, no, I'm not free, instead of doing every activity and or thinking of every idea for that day, then my sleep can be more of a actual like peaceful sleep, rather than just
mm,
being exhausted.
exhaustion.
Yeah,
Okay.
exhaustion, exactly. So that's why I would say things that I notice, when I am on that, I guess, high of like, yes, 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 sure, I got you. Oh, I can do that. Yeah, I can come here. I can, by the end of the night, I'm like, like,
Mhm,
and sometimes it's great. It's a great feeling, like I said, again, when I want to do it, I don't mind, like, oh, okay, whew, it was a long day, but it was worth it, rather than a long day of something that I really kind of just did so much for others.
mhm. I'm hearing two things. Okay. So I'm hearing two things. And remember, I'm taking notes. So just know that if you see me looking down, jotting things down, I'm listening to you.
Right.
Okay. Um, so I'm hearing two things. I'm hearing want, I'm also hearing confidence. So can you speak to me more? What I wrote was want versus confidence. I'm hearing a couple of things in your statement. I heard you literally say when I don't want to do it. When I don't want to do it. Can we address that first? I want to address that statement first, but then I also want you to tell me want versus confidence in owning your no. Okay. So I'm wondering, when you practice your pause, can you take that time, whatever that time is going to be, to evaluate, do I really want to do it? And that might look like pros and cons, like literally you doing a T chart, pros and cons of doing this for this person. What
Mm-hmm.
are the pros? What are the cons? And if it's more pros, then yeah, okay, my answer is going to be yes, right? I'm going to go back to them and say yes.
All right.
So, what I'm wondering is when you practice your pause, can you also do some self reflection? Answer that question. Do I really want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does.
Okay, so when you practice your pause, you're going to do some self reflection and you're going to actually answer that question. And you can even do the T chart of the pros and cons.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, can you talk to me a little bit more of want versus confidence in owning your no?
Of want versus confidence and owning
Yes.
my no. Um, I guess when you're saying like what, like when I say that I don't want to do something, and
Mm-hmm.
having that confidence in it, just being able, I mean, I think just being more direct by saying exactly that, by letting someone know, saying it exactly that way. Like, to me, I think that if I just tell somebody that I don't want to do something, again, it feels like as if like I'm offending them, you know and that's not the case. But being able to be direct at saying it, but without feeling the need to explain why. And that's why I say being more just confident in it, because we spoke about last week that a no is just a complete sentence. And
Right.
a lot of times, when you do just naturally care for others, people, friends, family, you do feel like they deserve an explanation. And honestly, I think my thing is, I think naturally, I think people and even myself, I can only speak for me. I think that I go ahead and give you the explanation because people like to follow up with why. Why can't you? People will ask, oh, why? Like they want to know, when you tell them no. So to
Mhm.
me, it's kind of like if I'm now saying I said no, now it's a energy of feeling like, I guess, being rude, or just pushing them to the side, and that's not even the case. So it's just, being able to be more direct with saying I don't want to, or maybe choosing even just different other statements to let it be very clear. Which I guess some of the statements that we worked on is being able to just start saying it that way.
Mhm. Yeah, some of those statements that you came up with really don't, again, like I said earlier, don't leave room for why. They're very clear.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem is if there are some boundary issues, then that person would then follow up with why.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
One thing you said is, and you know what? I've known you for a while now, and I know that you're a caring person. I know that about you.
Thank you.
one thing that I want you to know is that their feelings is none of your business. You can only take care of your side of the street. You can only deal with your feelings. You can only deal with your stuff. Like, you know what you have on your plate. You know what you need to do to take care of Kiara, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all that you need to be focused on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when you feel like you get concerned about their feelings, could you go back to your playlist?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely
because
my playlist.
it's gonna, it's
Definitely my
gonna,
playlist.
you gonna have it. It's gonna be there until you get more practice in doing it, right?
Right.
And I'm speaking on that because I went through a period where I had to own my no, because
Right.
I was the yes girl. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
was the yes girl. And I would accept, tasks for that other people asked me to do when I didn't want to do it. And a lot of times in the moment, I didn't realize that I didn't want to do it. And that's why I think practicing the pause is like, that's really powerful, Kiera. Because
Right.
I would accept it, and in the moment, I didn't know, dang, I really got too much going on in my own personal life. And I had told them I'm going to do this, that, and the third.
Right. Same.
So I had the feelings, right? I had those feelings. Afterwards, I had feelings, negative feelings for myself. Like, you didn't agree to do this, and you really don't have the time to do it, but you got to do it because you said you're going to do it now. So I
Right.
had negative feelings towards myself also,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Exactly.
So
Because then,
so
not to cut you off, but that's pretty much how I feel too. Because then it's like now, I'm big on being a woman of my word. So,
mhm.
and I feel like I always it's not necessarily a joke, but probably because I'm a girl, a woman, people be like. But one of my favorite movies is Scarface,
Really?
I just I mean, I'm not gonna quote the whole entire quote, but it was just a scene where Tony goes and visits Sosa for the first time, and his partner, which he already felt strongly like against or towards, he felt his energy. He knew something was off about the guy, and he was 100% right. But Sosa and them had found out, and they had, killed his partner, and so he showed him. Sosa tried to show Tony out of fear, but the thing that I guess the overall, of course, we know the movie is drugs. I never sold drugs or anything, but what I like about, in particular, that movie, and this is just kind of what I've always tried to sometimes like live by, just in general, is just the fact that any energy that he always felt towards someone, he was confident in it, and he felt it, and he was right. He did speak on it. Now, the thing that I like about him is that he will say no, too.
Mhm.
That was something
Mhm.
I'm trying to get there. But it was the fact that that scene that he said, when he seen the guy, and he thought that was going to scare him, and he was honestly happy, because he knew he was shady. That he told him, he said, all I got is my words, and the rest. And at
Mhm.
the end of the day, he said, he never will go against basically his words, because that's all he has. And when we think about,
Mhm.
just even down to outside of my little gangster moment with Scarface, I think about just life in general, history. History is his story. So at the end of the day, like, your words is really, all you have. So when I'm
Mhm.
saying yes to people, and I realized I really should have said no. Now I'm so eager to be, trying to prove that I'm a woman of my word, but
Mhm.
am I really actually? The thing that I'm learning now is, okay, well, was I also a woman of my spirit? Because my spirit wasn't all
Mm.
the way there. My just more so my actions, which is fine too. But I want my
Mhm.
spirit to be just as much as intact, as well, with my yeses, if I do decide, to do so.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. I don't know if you are a Bible believing woman. I think you are.
Yes.
Yeah, because Paul says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. And
Yes.
and basically when we read between the lines of that is if you say yes, then your motives and your spirit and all that is lined up with the yes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your motives are pure, right? Your motives are not out of ego, because that was something you talked about the last time, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not out of ego. It's like pure. Like I really just want to help. I have the time to do it. I can
Mm-hmm.
still take care of myself. I
Mm-hmm.
will do it. My yes is a true yes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then let your no be no. And then
Right.
I think, and when we read between the lines of that, I believe that he's saying your no is no, and you're not mulling it over in your spirit and in your
Right.
mind. And I hope they don't feel like a certain kind of way because I
Right.
said no. Guess
Exactly.
what? That their feelings is none of your business.
Right.
It's none of your business. And we cannot control people's feelings,
Right.
right? They gonna have their feelings. It ain't none of our business. All our business is our own feelings and our own motives and how we feel at the end of the day about saying the no or the
Right.
yes,
Exactly.
right? So let's create an action plan around these two things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you practice your pause, because that's probably going to be your first step, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to practice your pause. So when you practice your pause, you're going to take time to reflect.
Mm-hmm.
Is my motive pure? Like, am I doing this out of ego or pride or whatever it is?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I going to agree to do this because I really want to do it, right? Because we talked about wanting to do something, because I
Mm-hmm.
want to do it and I can do it and still take care of Kiera.
Right.
So take some time to reflect.
Right.
Okay. And the second thing that I would like for you to do is I want you to do some journaling around this confidence, and I want you to do some journaling around why you think their feelings is so important, like when you say no. I want you to do some journaling around that, so maybe you can explore where that might be coming from,
Mm-hmm.
what might trigger that, what might trigger those feelings, all of that. Triggers, because triggers can cause us to say yes to things that we don't want to do either.
Mm-hmm.
So just take some time to do some journaling around those things. Cause it's gonna come up. You're gonna have to say you're gonna have to say no, you're gonna have to practice your pause, you're gonna have to do all of that. It's gonna happen.
Yes, that's true.
And I also want you to think about the closer family members when you do this journaling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like your parents. I can't remember if you have siblings or not.
I'm an only child, but I do have
Okay.
I have a
That's
brother
what I
on my
thought.
father's side.
Okay.
But,
So the closer siblings, the ones that you interact with the most, I want you to do some journaling around that. What will happen if you say no to a parent? What's going to happen? Like, explain to me what's going to happen. You say no, what's going to happen?
mm-hmm.
What would your parents say if you said no and they asked you to do something? Like if they asked you to do something tomorrow and you use one of your 5 statements, what would happen afterwards?
uh, if I use on, I mean, it depending on what it is, my mother would be. It depends on what it is. She may be understanding.
Okay.
Especially if it's Especially, I mean, well, that goes to the quote unquote explaining. But I was about to say, especially if it's because I'm tired or busy, things like that. But
Hmm.
um, so yeah, depending on what it is.
Yeah, sensitive when it's a very close relative.
Right.
However, you still have to take care of yourself when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to your family too. You
Mm-hmm.
still have to practice the same things.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I'm gonna tell you this. For me, when I started practicing those boundaries and saying no, um, it took a little time, like for the feelings to go or the feelings to catch up with my words. I'll say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then my family eventually started respecting my boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was almost like I was training them how to treat me, the new me, right?
Right.
Because the old me would just always say yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I started training them on how to treat the new Kimberly.
Right.
So,
That makes sense.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay. All right. So that's your action plan for this week. So
Okay.
you want to practice the pause, take
Mm-hmm.
time to reflect, examine your motives, examine do I even want to do this? You're
Yes.
also going to do some mirror work
Yes.
with the statements, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you practice, just like with fire drills, I mean, how many fires have we had? But we always have a fire drill at school, right?
Right.
It's the same. It's like we will know exactly what to do if there's a fire because we've done fire drills.
Right.
So it's the same thing, the mirror work, practicing your pause, and then journaling to get into the deeper things.
Yes. And I journal too, so that'd be great topic for this week.
Awesome.
Mhm.
That's great. Okay, so in this session, do you have a sparkle out loud moment, like your aha moment? What's your sparkle out loud moment or your shining moment in this session?
Um, from today, I like the idea of just being able to do like the pros and cons when
Okay.
doing that pause moment and understanding if it's just something naturally like that I really want to do, and not feeling obligated to do it because someone came to me with an idea or with something. So I definitely do like when I'm pausing to really just kind of weigh out the pros and cons because sometimes I know naturally speaking too, like there's been times where I did say yes when I didn't want to, but then I also end up appreciating it later. So instead of
Hmm.
feeling that feeling like of later, like, having the feeling all the way up, like, then I do it. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. I'm glad I said yes, just already feeling like that from the get go for things that I feel, I think the pros and cons will be good because then it can may naturally change, my mind to a yes, with confidence, or it can really have me more firm with just sticking to my no.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, how would you like to be acknowledged today? Or what would you like to acknowledge yourself for today? Like celebrate, like your own personal shout out.
Honestly, doing this on live, and so truthfully, uh, as much as like the Kitty Mo, which with me doing radio, I'm at like a Kiara. She she doesn't like live like that, so me just having my session live, I definitely am like, yeah, okay, here goes that confidence. But
Yes.
I definitely would say that for sure. And just also too, you said how I like to be acknowledged. And how I like to be acknowledged today is um just knowing a woman that's growing, and And that's just the best way to put it. You know, a woman that's growing. I feel like I can't even say like, oh, I have growth because I'm still growing, and I feel like you never stop growing at this point. I think that we think just because we get to like a certain age, just because we get to a certain status in life, whether that's financially, stability, it becoming a mom. I'm not a mother, but becoming parents, becoming a mother or a father. We think we have everything figured out. And I think that we think we just automatically know everything about ourselves, but there's nothing wrong with just honestly growing until it's your last day, you know. So to me, I'm a woman that's growing.
Okay, so I want to shout you out, Kiera, for doing this live. This is me
Thank
acknowledging you. I
thank
want to
you.
shout you out, Kitty Mo, Kiera Kitty Mo, for doing this live. And I also just want to shout you out for continuing to work on your growth and your development as a woman.
Thank
So
you.
shout out to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you for joining this session, and I look forward to the next one.
Yes, me too. Me too. Thank you. You have a great Friday. Well, you already, I think Friday night.
It is.
So you have a great Saturday coming up. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much again.
Bye.
Bye bye.